Good morning, it's Chris Adams. I'm the co-founder and chief technology officer at gShift Labs. This is our regular Web Presence Wednesday webinar series. We conduct these sessions each month, and what we do is we look at the highlights of the search engine industry every month, all the things that are changing, and try to put together, what is the optimum list for you to understand how to either talk to your clients about what's happening in the search world or understanding yourself. Today's session is really going to focus in on localized optimization. So how do we get, say for example, you're a franchise, a business owner that operates in multiple cities or regions, how do we get better local results in those areas? So we'll be discussing that today. We're also going to take a look at how to use gShift to understand and gauge your performance in terms of that local optimization. Afterwards, we can definitely get into some highlights of what's happening at and around gShift. In the month of September, there was a tweet just recently from, I guess it was September 12th, from Matt Cutts. He is one of the senior engineers at Google, and he's actually the person that runs the search engine algorithm. And he posted something that's basically said, exact match domains will start to have less of an impact in the search results. So, for example, some of you on the phone may have in the past purchased domains such as XYZ-XYZ, which is like, the actual keyword phrase that you're looking for, or keywordphrase.com, things of that nature. That may have provided you with some extra visibility over the past few years, which is great. However, it may not provide as much of a result as it is now. Not to say that you shouldn't go out and kind of replace that domain name tomorrow. I think it's still going to provide some level of respect, I guess, in the engine itself, but he's just saying it's being downplayed. So if you do see some ranking data or your site has gone down slightly since September, and you do have an exact match domain name, it is quite possible that this is something that may be impacting you. The other piece to it is that there's been some minor rollouts in terms of Penguin. So Penguin is still around, and they're just doing some minor tweaks. So again, there was a couple of different rollouts in September with the Penguin kind of massive change that Google has. And again, we can talk about some of the things that are going to be coming out and features coming out in gShift shortly that can help with or the determination of how to do better, I guess, Penguin prevention. We can definitely talk about that at the end. A bunch of our team members are actually in New York right now this week at SMX New York. It's a search marketing conference. And just a few quotes that they have sent me from the trade show expo. We called it Heard at SMX. Interestingly enough, the topic of SEO being dead has been is an ongoing topic since probably like the late 90s. But it's just not dead. But definitely what people are really saying is that SEO is just a function of other job functions. So if you're a content writer, you just have to write optimized content. If you're a social media person, you're writing content that has keyword phrases in it. So if you're a PR person, you're trying to write optimized press releases. There's no real person today that kind of sits there and should be the ultimate SEO person in your team. Everybody just needs to incorporate that into their job functions. Very true. Ranking data is not everything that you need. So this is an interesting topic. There's a lot of tools on the market that can say that you're number 17 or number 3 or you're ranking this or that in these search engines, and that's wonderful. But we really need to really understand if I'm ranking on the first page for a keyword phrase, first of all, is there any search volume for that phrase? Well, what is the search volume for that phrase globally and also locally, like in my country? What kind of analytics am I getting? Is it always 100% bounce rate? Is my page even matching up? Do I get really good quality traffic? Am I converting from it? Do people take action after I after people come from that search term and come to my website, are they doing something like signing up for a newsletter, downloading a white paper, taking action? So ranking data is really not the be all and end all. It is nice to have. It is nice if you're actually doing some SEO and you're looking at a particular page. You definitely want to understand, hey, are the actions that I'm taking positive or negative towards me getting higher rankings? And that's wonderful in that respect. But when we start getting on to into the top 10 search results for Google, we really got to start mixing in other pieces of data to decide, maybe it's the content, maybe I need to hone in on my audience, maybe I need to change how I'm talking on that page to make it more actionable. Also, the other topic that they've overheard at the booth is backlinks. So the concept of sometimes backlink data in apps or tools that search marketers typically use, they don't update as frequently. Some people update them every 30 or 60 days. So if you're into content marketing and you're looking at, what happened in the last week? Have I added any backlinks? Has anybody backlink from different blog posts to my recent blog post or press release? Well, we really need to look at different technology now to understand new backlinks. So this is something that we're definitely working on at gShift, and I do hope to provide you with more information in the next few weeks on that exact topic, because we have found the ability to do so. I am looking forward to talking about that. The other piece at SMX New York was this was more of a medium-sized kind of business level. SEO reporting has become more of a compliance option for the marketing team, or not really an option, but more or less an exercise that the president wants to look at, and that's just because things are changing so rapidly. They want to understand, is it something that we have been doing, or is it something that Google has changed recently, and how our search engine results are being shown up, because it is a corporate policy. They obviously everybody wants to rank for a phrase, and it is something that they're monitoring quite heavily. So the concept of SEO reporting is starting to become more of a compliance or more of a regular report in the marketing team. Another interesting piece that came out was from this company called eConsultancy, which is mainly based over in Europe. They do lots of surveying in the marketing space. In September, they came out with a survey just around social and email and also in search. Interestingly enough, gShift's been always promoting. We've been taking kind of like more of a route of 25% clicking through on paid search and 75% clicking through on natural search. But interestingly enough, the data after 1.4 billion search queries that they've captured, 94% of this scientific exercise to look at this distribution clicked on natural or organic search results. So this is quite interesting. So when you're looking at or discussing this, when you get back to the office with the rest of your marketing team or management, and you are doing paid search, which I think is great, because paid search sometimes works for good actionable keywords, or when you can't get into the natural search results, it's a great supplement being there. But you need to really talk about the reasons why we need to keep our websites up to date, content rich, doing new content, like fresh content. We call that content marketing in today's world. So these are the reasons why we need to do these things and have a budget and spend time doing this as an organization, so that we can keep our visibility across the board, which we call web presence, across all those keyword phrases. So this is definitely something that you may you should show to the management team. Getting into the main topic today, which is local search optimization, there are a few points to make, and I'm going to jump into our local search optimization guide that our team has built. And this guide will be available for download very shortly. So for any gShift client or agency, you will be provided with this guide, and it will be on our website as well. We hope that you can use this guide in many different circumstances. Not everybody is doing local. I mean, it only pertains to certain people. There's typically 3 levels of search There's local, sort of more of a national, and there's also an international. And sometimes even at the local, national, and international, it can become a little bit more complicated if you have multiple languages that you're conducting your business in. So in North America, that can be English, French, and Spanish. However, over in Europe, we're looking at multiple languages, and especially over in other parts of the world. So when we look at search or local search, we always think of Google Places as natural starting point, but there are other sort of search engine listings, such as there is a Bing page as well, business page. There's a business page for Yahoo as well. Depending upon what country you're in, there's sometimes different rules in terms of how these pages are shown, or if you're even able to utilize them. So please, you can contact or look at for whatever your country is, and just take a peek at the rules for Google, Bing, and Yahoo. There are other local directories, and typically how you would look for this is for the keyword phrases, and gShift will show you this, helps with this immensely. But what you typically can do if you want to do it by hand is you can go into a local directory and type in, say, for example, you're looking, I don't know, condos in Denver. So if you're looking for condos in Denver, then we can take a peek and see what kind of blogs, what kind of directory listings are coming up in the top 20 to 30 search results in Google, and identify them and write them down. Are they paid? Are they free? Maybe you do want to actually pay to get into those local directory listings for the backlink, and or try to contact the webmaster in order to see if we can contribute articles to that site, or get your content on there with a hyperlink, obviously. Number 2 and 3 are definitely kind of interlinked. We're just kind of calling it this Kevin Bacon degrees of freedom, just because people do like to talk about this topic in general. But basically, when Google's looking at your local search results, they can kind of conclude that you are relevant in your neighborhood or your local area by the fact that you're interlinked with other high-ranking local business pages. So when you're looking at number 2, it is very important to actually get other backlinks onto other local directories. So this is very important. So those things go hand in hand. And again, the way to do it is through media, through events, through blogging, and or contacting those people. And again, those sites can be paid or free. Another great way of getting exposure locally is on those same blogs that you've identified. Monitor those blogs and start to participate in commenting. If you can comment first on a blog, it's just a great presence point. I already read the blog, but underneath it actually states my comment, which means that it's possible that I get exposure because I'm writing about gShift Labs there. So it is an example of an easy ability to understand how to get more exposure at a local level. We do suspect, and there is some articles on blog signals or blog comment signals, which are Google will spider a blog and look at commenting, and they may or may not follow through on the actual hyperlink back to that URL when you comment, because you're allowed to provide a URL back to your website. Some people say that that's really not really a real backlink. We like to call them more of a signal, and I think that Google will be looking at that kind of thing in the future. So it would be good to start to bring blog commenting to your attention. Reviews are definitely something to consider. When looking at reviews, it definitely helps in terms of how your Google Places or your Google Map page would come up. For example, the more reviews you have, more than likely you'll have a higher search result in Google Local. Socializing at a local level. So if you're participating in putting hashtags in by your city name, like #Toronto, there is an ability for you to get local exposure through the search engines, which contributes to probably number 3 and number 4, which is getting other local listings or directories or blogs linking back to your website, especially if they're starting to connect with you on social as a social influencer. They may actually start writing about you and including you on their local websites as well. So when you think of social, it's not just about socializing just to be there, but using social in a way to build influencers and build your influence over those people as well. So it's another great way to establish that kind of level of trust and knowledge in the marketplace. Events are something always used too in terms of getting exposure. People will probably retweet events more, especially if they're like a free webinar or a free download to a webinar. So these are things that can easily expand backlinks to your website. We're just going to jump into previewing the guide. It should be ready in about a week. When we look at the guide in general, it's quite large, so please don't get scared. We talk about keyword research, and again, at a local level and also at a global level. So for example, if you're trying to optimize for a phrase at a local level, but there's just no monthly searches at all, you may want to think about other variations of that phrase because obviously they're going to work more for you. And you also notice as well when you look at the data, if you do have a really good localized term, more than likely the global will be very close to what the local is. And that's quite interesting, which means that mostly the region is searching on that kind of thing, and it's not really more of a, if you want to put it as an example, not really a North American effect on looking at that. So for example, that combination of like Denver condos, if I was looking for a condo in Denver, there probably are people that are moving to Denver and they're probably searching on it, but more than likely it's possibly the local market itself is trying to figure out, new condos for sale and things like that in Denver. So in terms of optimizing your organic search, we definitely want to put localized keyword phrases, and typically they're like cities, for example. Say in this example that we're looking through is restaurants in Toronto. We don't just want to say restaurant all the time. We definitely want to say Toronto. We might want to actually look at the region of Toronto. Maybe it's the waterfront area. Maybe it's the King Street area. We need to understand, so that's even localized more so than even Toronto. So if someone wanted to search for a restaurant in the downtown King Street area of Toronto, then we hopefully, looking at all that content we have it on our page, it's possible that that web page would rank first before anybody else, depending upon how everybody else was optimized. We do get into things called schema, which is a new thing. I will go deeper on that on a whole different session. You can learn more about it. We provide the URL to you, in which case it is something new for e-commerce and other kind of localized websites. You can create and optimize content in Google Plus, and I think that's a main winner. I mean, Google, let's face it, has a 60 to 70% market share in North America. We definitely should be using it. We already know that Google Plus pages rank higher in Google than any other kind of social tool, and we also know that it's playing an influence with your localized pages as well. So get started today. Start filling out the paperwork. It is a little bit laborious in terms of getting it set up, but once you do, you're really just operating it just as you would operate Twitter or Facebook. So online reviews, that we can go deeper into this, but we need to really look at understanding and kind of liking a review or replying to a negative review as well. Some businesses hold a couple of positive reviews that are ready in case they need to use them. So if a negative review does come in, and people do make mistakes on a time-to-time basis, they can push a couple of positive reviews into the system so that there are more positive with the negative as well. So make sure that you do understand that reviews are getting easier and easier now to add to your business because you are online. And even if you're not participating, people are going to write about you. So the best bet is obviously to participate and try to be as open as possible with your clients and customers. We do talk about, again, citations, as we call them, which are just backlinks, but localized backlinks. And we talk about how you can actually use gShift to help find those backlinks. Participating in social media, as we already recapped, and which we'll go into in a second as well. How do you measure this strategy? I mean, if you're going to put all this time and energy, is it as simply as just looking at rank, or is there other aspects to this that we want? Obviously, when we talk to our customers, it's definitely at a local level. People really want to know, am I actually ranking on the first page of Google for a localized result? And those localized results, as you see them, are like little map kind of pinpoints that basically say, you're A, B, or C, and they're typically a letter. And typically, you're only getting a few of those on the first page of Google. That can add a lot of traffic for your brand and to your website. So we definitely want to be there, especially if other people are there. And that can actually really help. So we want to track competitors, and we also want to understand how we're doing ourselves. And then again, we can also track social media, and again, tracking our competitors. So let's jump into our application for just a moment. And we're going to just take a quick peek at inside of gShift Labs. We're going to go to one of our clients that we like to share. It's a localized condo company. And we were discussing a couple of things around research. And that was, we do have a number of ways of providing research for you. So there's a way of understanding keyword variations. We can kind of map out new traffic. So we're trying to highlight, what new variations of keyword phrases are actually being used to get to your website. That can definitely help. And also anchor text. Is there any new anchor text in terms of people hyperlinking to your website? Maybe we want to follow those kinds of keywords. And again, the last but not least, understanding, for example, here's an example. This condo listings berry is like 0, but the different variation of it is berry condo listings has actually 46 searches. It's quite interesting that it's very localized, or a lot of these search results are localized to the local Canadian marketplace. But obviously, there are other ones like berry condos for sale where in Canada, 720 per month as an estimate, 880. So it looks like there are U.S.-based people searching for condo developments in this city. So that's how I would use this kind of data. And again, I can switch between the different engines to see what keyword phrases I'm following in google.com versus google.ca. And again, it would work for any other Google property in any country. I can easily download this information if I wanted to send this off to some people. I can take a screenshot, or I can obviously download this into a CSV. So we do provide you with that level of intelligence on how to determine the right keyword phrases and for the right marketplace. So when we get into positions for a particular, like let's look for berry condos for sale, we do see that we are ranking in the top, and we can actually look at what pages are actually ranking here. So we can take a peek and see, hey, there they are. And again, looking at summary data, and you can go back and you can take a peek at all the different localized, and again, at this level, that's what I was trying to look for here, is I can actually just look to see which keywords are ranking locally versus not ranking. So that's pretty easy to take a peek. We did speak about social. So again, I can track a lot of the social signals across the board between all the activities that are happening over these past, this is actually over a 7-day period. I can change that here. And then competitors as well. I want to understand how I'm actually doing in terms of all the positions that I'm gaining in terms of my website versus the other websites that we're tracking. So that's how that's how I would look at my data right now in terms of am I doing better locally versus not. I'm going to end the session here now because we did take up some time. We will be following up with our clients with that localized optimization guide so that you can do a recap on your strategy at the local level. And again, this session was only to talk about local search tactics rather than more of a national or international approach to your web presence. We will be providing more and more information as we roll through Web Presence Wednesdays, in which case it will be other things to do with either social, keyword phrases, backlinking, etc. I want to leave you with one last thing, which is pretty exciting in terms of its ease. I'm just going to take a look at this person's homepage for a moment and click Optimizer, and maybe maybe we wanted to look at average condo fees in Barrie. I mean, I doubt that their homepage has been optimized for this, or that they actually want to take action with changing their homepage up for this. But you can see that there's a couple of things that come up here. We're getting more and more precise on exactly what we want you to do with different areas of your web page. And so it's not very generic optimization suggestions. These are very important. The title tag falls outside of the 70 to 100 characters in length. So we definitely want to keep those characters in line. The actual keyword in its exact form is not showing up in the title. It's not in their H1 tag. It's not in their meta description. It's not inside the P tag. The P tag is basically where the paragraph content is, and that's something like where Google would look for it rather than just sort of maybe it's in some side navigation. We also do look for it being what we call an abstract area, such as an H2 or an H3 tag. So we expect you to kind of have these kinds of tags. That helps with an actionable 1 to 2 sentence line before you go into the actual P content or that paragraph content. And again, we're looking at density. So we're looking at making sure that phrase is actually seen a certain number of times inside your content. So these are the same things that Google would be looking at when they're comparing your page and trying to say, hey, should we rank this page for this phrase? So we're rolling out more and more of these precise optimization checks over the next few months. So look for more of these as we roll them out. We will be discussing them. But we're getting very, very precise for you so that you can really start to hone in on that exact stuff that Google wants. So we hope that you will take advantage of this. And with activities, you can, once you actually assign the activities, you can see that I can go to a history about that page and start to see what has actually been done for this page and what still needs to be done. So I can now understand if I've taken action or if it's still in the queue to take action on it. And once I do this, then I can actually check to see if my rank is starting to change based on the actions that I'm taking. So this is very, very cool stuff. And we do really hope that it helps in terms of making these SEO changes for your clients. Thanks again. It's always a great time to discuss web presence Wednesdays and different topics that can help our agencies and clients. And I do really love to talk about what's happening in the search engine industry and how that can actually affect you and how you can take those little bits of action to just do better than your competitors. So I look forward to November and going into, I believe, LinkedIn. We're going to go deep on LinkedIn company pages and the different things that have been changing in LinkedIn and how to take advantage of that precisely for search results and also for social reasons. and how to monitor that inside of gShift. So again, you can follow at gShift Labs on Twitter or myself at Chris H. Adams. Uh, this way, we publish new pieces of information daily around the search engine industry. So if you want deeper information, then please follow us on Twitter or in Google Plus. We're both there. gShift Labs is there, and even myself. So that's where we usually push most of that information. And in these web presence sessions, we only have a certain period of time to discuss the major ones. And so we'll just highlight them. But if you really want to know on a daily basis what's going on, we will be there for you. And we do push out information daily on Google Plus or via Twitter. Thank you very much.